the House EP. It is 5 songs. Now, Lupe, is this the precursor to much more music coming from you? I've heard rumblings of other things.
Um, Big shout outs to Kalen Ellis, my co-collaborator on the House EP. The House EP is actually a interruption of the continuation.
Okay. Okay.
I was actually doing, I'm constantly working on multiple projects, um, to various degrees of success. But I was actually working on COVID-19 hits, no more touring. Um, what are we gonna do now? You got a clear line of 6 or 7 months you're gonna be sitting, and it's like, oh, let me just go back to start working on these records. Let me go back and set up the studio again. The studio's literally right here. It's literally right where I'm sitting. This is where I record, and let me start to work on this Amy Winehouse project that I've always kind of dabbled in. Let me start putting flesh to that. Let me arrange Skulls, which is uh, a album I've been working on for years. Let me start to put attention to that. And then other little mini things that are just kind of floating. And in that process, I'm doing freestyles, just kind of doing stuff, throw it out. I did a little series called Tokyo Freeze over some of Robert Glasper's live sets while he was in Tokyo. And I luckily get recordings of that and just chopped it up, rap over that, throw it out for a little freestyle thing. So in the process of me working on what would be official projects, I'm still doing the regular rigmarole of freestyle and things for the fans. And in that process is where you get house. In that kind of like, let me take a break from recording this piece or working on this more official piece and do like a little freestyle. Pull a beat from here, snatch a beat from here.
But there is a through line here. It's not this, the way it came together may have been unorthodox in many ways for you, but in listening to the project and the way it starts with the audio of Virgil Abloh talking about how we, how we perceive our house, our living, where we live, where we exist, how we exist in space, and kind of, that was my interpretation of what I was hearing him say in that opening piece. And then the way it goes into Dinosaurs, which, it feels like you were talking about an existence in time and your existence in that was, and so I'm looking at this project called House. We're stuck in the house. We've had to redefine how we live, how we exist, where we are in time. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as if, you're making it sound, and I think I know you well enough over the years to the audience to feel as though, it was okay, boom, boom, I got something for that, but it isn't haphazard. It is very thoughtful, the whole project, right?
Yeah, creative process and uh, actual creation are two different things. So as
Right.
haphazard, or I don't want to call it accidental, but as miscellaneous as the process may seem, the actual content itself is very powerful. It's very layered and very strong and very intentional. Um, and it came about in a way, like I said, instead of just doing a bunch of songs, if this is going to be a project and we're going to make it official, then let's give it the finish of an album, which for me is giving it a conceptual through line and then layering it, if not decorating it, making the decorations, the tree. It's not like a Christmas tree and then you decorate the tree. It's like the tree is the decoration, so to speak. It's fundamental to the process. It's not just an attachment or ornament attached to it that can be taken away.
Track 4, Shoes, Virgil's back on this track. Um, Tell me why, obviously Chicago's the connectivity there. But I'm sure you and Virgil go back to the early days of the comeuppance of both of you guys. You've crossed paths many, many times. When you went putting this together, what made you think of Virgil to put in this space?
Me and Virgil been collaborating since, man, was it 2020 now? Maybe 05, 04, like that. So I've been knowing Virgil for a long time. We always wanted to collaborate, right? And it was kind of like I didn't want to jump in while he was at the heights, and he's still at his heights, right? And I didn't. It wasn't like, yo, Virg, send me a bunch of Jordans. Like I've never received a pair of shoes from Virg. Like I still don't have any shoes from Virg. I remember when Off White first rocked, I went and got some stuff, and from Pyrex, he sent me some stuff. But when it was like, I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Let's do something. Let's collaborate in a different way. And so when the concept for shoes came about, it immediately was like, Virgil, now is the time. All right, let's do this. And he was like, yep, let's do that. And it was literally just, I was like, yo, I need two things, from you. I need your architect, this thing's called house. I just want you to talk about the ideal home, right? You being an architect, like professionally trained in that space. What is the ideal home? And that's how you get homemade, right? It's him kind of about that. And then when it came
And
for
that way,
shoes,
and so I wasn't sure if that opening track was audio you had pulled from somewhere, or he just did that for this project.
yeah, he just did that for this project. So he just was like,
Okay, that's amazing.
under the constraints of COVID-19, it's like, yo,
Yeah,
take your phone and then just pontificate at length
yeah.
subject. And the second half of that piece was shoes. It was like, what does it look like to design a pair of sneakers for Ahmaud Arbery? He lives through these things called resurrectives. Uh, Janala Forever, Allen Forever. Even this project I'm doing about Amy Winehouse. There's bringing these entities and these people back to life, or uh, interrupting their life in a certain way, and then putting it on a different trajectory based off something that they reference casually. And it's like, oh no, let's grab that and make it. So you look at something like, the life of Ahmaud Arbery and his path. He was a rapper, you know, um, and in addition to that, he had these aspirations to play sports, and his demise occurred in the process of him working out, jogging or doing whatever. And it was like, how can we capture that moment, um, and celebrate it? You know, uh, even though it was the eventually led up to his demise. How do we capture that, memorialize that in a very way for now? How you memorialize things in the now, and sometimes memorialize things through material product. But how can we take that material product and invest it with something, um, a certain power or a certain sentiment, that is above and beyond just a casual kind of like, oh, let's just do this. But even when you look, piggybacking onto like the running with the mod kind of campaign that kicked up, and people filming themselves jogging and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, a certain level of memorialization. Okay, how can we complete that? How can I add to that? With what I do, beyond just writing a song about it. Yo, let's make the shoes. And so it was time spent trying to find the shoes that he actually wore. you know we intentionally actively spent time looking through the footage, trying to get a sense of what it was, um, without being too macabre about it or being too disrespectful to memory, or that, but to be accurate. you know and then it became like, you know let's design that. Go.
Any time frame, I know you like to move. Time is not an element for you, but for those of us that those of us that are trying to keep up, we like to look forward to things.
Indeed, the Doctor Strange time stone is what I possess. But I mean, like I said, Skull. When I look at music, it's at least now, it's very much so when it's finished. But also with that, it's putting a little bit more energy and intention into finishing, or at least on some schedule, because there's other people involved. So I'm still on a
Right.
label. I'm still person 15th.
Right.
writers,
That's
you
right.
know. So there's still a staff that I need to be respectful of and take them in consideration as well in terms of timelines and stuff like that. But with that said, it's, you know, it's finished when it's finished. But the hope is to get you know, not necessarily Skulls out this year, but definitely the kind of Amy Winehouse inspired piece hopefully be out this year. It's a longer version of House, but a shorter version than, you know, a
Drogas Wave.
yeah, for sure. So it's kind of
Right.
gets kind of sit in that LP kind of space, but it's not going to be this big extended project.
So Lupe, is the Nas collaboration rumor true?
We talked about the Winehouse record, right?
That's right.
It was like going to studio. Nas has a bunch of blunts there. He's obviously ready. We're in the studio. It's not, oh, what are we doing? What am I stepping into? What are we finna do right now? And it was the conversation that we had was incredible. It's unbelievable. And then it went to, okay, so what are we doing? What do you want to do?
Right.
You know? And I told him about the Amy Winehouse piece. I was like, well, you know, this is what I'm you know, engaged in right now conceptually. Maybe it tickles your fancy. I don't know. And it just kind of like tapered from like, okay, let's see, you know, whatever. And then Nas goes on to be Nas, Lupe goes on to be Lupe. And so that's kind of where it ends.
So there's
Now,
not a Nas Lupe collaboration song.
now I
I'm
hit
jumping
Nas.
ahead. He's like, hold on, you jumping ahead.
You asked. I, I I have Nas's phone number for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm feeling myself maybe maybe it's about a month ago. And I was like listening to some beats, just going through the concepts. Because I have other concepts and records that are like ridiculous. And I was like, yo, let's do an EP. Right? I was just like, you know what? Let's do an EP. Life is short. COVID-19. Let's do EP. I
Yeah.
have not heard back yet.